Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified business and executive coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in Southwest Ohio. We're thrilled to have you join us on the podcast series. You'll love this episode, I think, eye-opening with Ashley Barrow. Ashley is the CEO and founder of Reassist. They're an AI-empowered platform focused on coordinated care. I think really taking some of the burden off patients and caregivers as they navigate illness and disease and treatments in our society. So, if you're new to the series, we're thrilled to have you join us. We encourage you to hit the subscribe button so you can receive future messages like you're going to hear today from Ashley Barrow of Reassist. So, Ashley, welcome to the Business Spotlight. We're thrilled to have you. If you could take a second, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about Reassist and your mission, and why did you start the business?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today. Again, my name is Ashley Barrow, founder and CEO of Reassist, and nurse case manager for decades in the tri-state area, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. And just throughout my work life, it was just a lot of remembering, for example, providers, and it was a lot of administrative burden when it came to helping vulnerable individuals like transition through care. So, for example, if there was individuals that were aging, disabled, and they needed to get connected to services or care in the community, a lot of times we had to track down that electronic health record. We had to know that provider directory, and that could take sometimes a half a shift to days made all that care. So what we did was pretty much put that in a software to make it easier for coordinators to help patients navigate care. And then on the patient side, if they're intuitive enough, to help them navigate care on their own.
Okay, great. I think many of us who've either been caregivers, obviously, many of us have been patients, realize, hey, there's a lot to navigate and to juggle there. Maybe if you could take a second, kind of share, like, who might be kind of ideal or target customers who would actually probably gain the most, get the most value out of your services.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, the primary care doctors, those doctors that are helping patients navigate disease processes, helping them with linkages to care, transitions to care. We can be that back end friend to help them, get all that information documented and then help them bill on a per patient per month basis. Second of all, for those primary care doctors that are connected to hospital systems, we can do primary care led innovation where we can help bring this software and this framework into the healthcare systems so we can align coordinators to help with, again, those transitions of care, like from the hospital into the community, or if they need to go to another facility or that way as well. Finally, we can work with population health, ambulatory care. For those care managers that need help with navigation on that side, the software can also help with that. So basically, what we're trying to do is primary care led innovation, where primary care brings us into hospitals, into ambulatory care, and then even looking at future routes to EMS. So it's a lot going on here, but our main focus is primary care.
So in terms of those services, so we may not be directly familiar with it. What makes you guys unique? The approach that you have, and hey, you're a newer platform that you're creating. But what may separate you from other service providers out there?
Well, we made a care coordination platform by a care coordinator of 20 years. So that in itself makes it extremely intuitive. We're always thinking about a patient first approach as well. So we understand, the barriers of those patients, what they might face, and the way we've aligned the platform, the way we've built it, the way we use our filtration system, how we sort and organize our providers is in a way that we look at an equity first approach where individuals that have compounded medical issues with social issues that we can address them with our within the provider directory. We're also looking at killing the clipboard and how there's a lot of different administrative burdens with that. Looking at how we can take information from the electronic health record and build it right into those forms, so we're not continuously filling forms out all day. Or how do we get the information to the providers in a swift and quick and accurate way. So the way we went about the platform is not looking at it from, this is the problem. We need, as far as the problem, like where how it relates to money. We're looking at this as a innovation that's led by past experiences, from a career and then also personal experience. So we're taking that and we understand the pain points of those coordinators, the end users of the platform, how long it takes to really find that provider directory that's going to do the work that really needs to be done for the patient, how long it takes to recover some of that medical record from the specialist, et cetera, and then how we can compile that and get that right at your fingertips. And then we're also looking at the patient and saying, hey, we have a very intuitive filter on the electronic health record that you can read your documents and follow your care plans really quickly and closely. So those are that's the difference between us and the way that we're building. We're building from that experience-based approach.
And then in terms of the markets that you're in, are you mostly here in the tri-state or are
Yes.
you sort of more
Yes.
geographically?
Yes, Tri-State. We're also starting conversations in other regions. But the whole point we're doing, wherever we go, we are looking to eliminate that administrative burden when it comes to navigating healthcare and case management.
Yeah, I mean that burden is kind of everywhere geography, wise, right? So that opportunities everywhere in the country. So good.
Absolutely.
So you're close to 5 years in now with building and launching the business. Chris,
Mhm.
what have been the marketing strategies that have borne the most fruit for you in terms of that growth?
Absolutely. So, what we've done is we took this thing, we built what we could build with. So it started as a small project. A lot of people know it was me and my son kind of built the first iteration. We started at ideal, so then we had to go raise money, find a team. We had to build credibility, and I think we've done that in a really strategic way. We've went after accelerators that were pretty credible, that got us placed in different areas in healthcare, even concerning policy, things like that. We've been recognized by some of the biggest and brightest institutions. We've partnered with great economic development, especially around the state of Ohio, from Cincinnati to Cleveland. So we, I believe, have done really good with the execution when it comes to credibility and kind of like keeping the name out there. As far as the product goes and the way we've built the product, again, has been based on policy. We've been able to work with the likes of some really good corporate partners that put us in a place where health technology right now is like growing so fast and moving so fast. Like we're finding ourselves, ahead of the game in some of the areas. So with that being said, we're super excited for that.
So you mentioned corporate partners, right? Most businesses would love to get partnerships with some larger enterprises. How
Mhm.
have you kind of cracked the code to build those relationships? A lot of times
I
it's
love
hard to
that
get in the door,
question.
right?
Yeah, it is hard to get in the door. And I think, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but what we initially did was, like I said, I kind of built a little small thing. We really needed to raise money to get to the MVP, but we had something that, was viable, we can click it and things like that. And so what we did was we took that to every innovation hub, every hospital innovation hub that we can find. And this was right at COVID. So there was a lot of innovation arms at this time, and they were slowly, starting to dissolve. Some of them were starting to dissolve, but we took them, and some of them liked it, some of them liked the idea, and we continue to work with them to this day. So that was a strategy that I thought was pretty cool that we used.
Okay. Yeah, great way to get in the door. Actually, probably some other folks within those organizations that are more entrepreneurial, right? Right. By nature. So good.
Yeah,
So looking back, hey, 5 years ago, like I said, you started around COVID and that, but I'm
yeah.
curious, any business launch, business journey's got a lot of twists and turns in the road. Curious, what's been a past challenge that you and the team have had, and how did you overcome it? What did you learn?
So defining who the real customer is, now that's hard, especially in healthcare, because everything is confidential and it's really proprietary. And then a lot of the times, there's some competitors and things like that that don't want to give out, their specific, processes and things like that. So it's really hard to figure out who the customer is, but really drilling down to understanding like, okay, who are we going after here? Are we going after the consumer? Is it going to be patient facing? Is it going to be clinician facing? Is it going to be both? And then if we're going for clinicians, what EHR are they using? Because we got to integrate with that EHR. You know what I'm saying? And then what aspect of care, are we trying to do the whole navigation? Because many different providers have different processes and they do different nuances, and that you have to incorporate that. And then not only that, you got to be able to help make money or save money or something like that. So it's like,
Right.
how can you do that? What service code would be helpful to tie to the software, or how are we going to increase productivity, things like that. So really understanding who we can do that for and do that correctly for with. And it's just not customer discovery interviews. You got to really try to figure this out, get in the lab. We were able to partner with some universities to really dive deep and do some really deep dives into like some simulations on how we would work the product, what customers would be best for us, and things like that. So we did have to do some deep diving on that, and that was super exciting.
So you mentioned, hey, you just got off a bunch of sales calls. So I'm curious,
Yeah.
what's the day in the life of Ashley Barrow, CEO of Reassist, look like?
Absolutely. So it's following up. So I'm doing a lot of the sales right now, following up, keeping those relationships going, figuring out where the customers are in the pipeline, like how close we're getting to actually signing the contract. Make sure I'm giving good customer service and I'm identifying the needs, and if need be, taking the feedback and customizing. Then I'm also relaying that to the team, and the team so they can execute on the things we need. What else am I doing? I'm also looking at first quarter goals and seeing like who are we implementing with, who our implement partners is, what are we expecting to get, what are they expecting from us. So just keeping in line with the sales cycle in general.
So you're only managing sales, service, team communications, goals. You right? You're the typical business owner, right?
Yep. Yep.
Juggling a lot.
Yes.
So you talked through some of those things you're focused on. What's a current challenge for you and the team that you guys are trying to figure out this year?
Um, it's a lot going on with healthcare IT, a lot going on with it. And we have aligned ourselves really good with a lot of it. So it's like, what can we take on? What can't we take on? And that has become a challenge because we have to look and see, what our current customers and our where are we going in general, and then how it's aligning with policy and some things that we can do. It was some things that you couldn't imagine doing a year ago that is wide open now, especially with artificial intelligence, being able to read structured and unstructured data. Like it's just so exciting, especially for care coordination right now. So it's like, what direction are we truly going into, and how can we hit those milestones? So that's really one of the biggest challenges we're looking at right now is like, exactly where are we going within all the health IT, and then how can we execute?
All right. So you're roughly 5 years in. What's your dream for the business, your vision long term? I don't know whether maybe 10 plus years or whatever down the road. Where do you see this going?
Absolutely. So I see that in about 5 years from now, that the platform will be in the hands of some major hospital systems. We'll be able to help patients navigate from acute care to post-acute care, over through the population health and through the health plan and through EMS. I think that is such a cool opportunity to do some things with EMS. I think that is such a good opportunity. My head is looking towards that way. I'm hoping that patients will be able to do a lot of their own navigation because everything is just a click of a button, and they can touch and they can identify through our platform. And once they do that, then they can move on to eligibility, then through pre-authorization for the things that they don't need help with. So that's super exciting. So those are some things that we're looking at doing in the future, is expanding through, like I said, the health system through the health plan to EMS, and then that patients will have an opportunity to do a lot of self navigation because the platform would be that intuitive that they can identify, they can look at eligibility and pre authorization through the platform.
Okay. All right. In terms of your team, I'm curious. I think you mentioned roughly 5 folks on your team.
Uh-huh.
Maybe share like some of the key skills for folks who hear AI powered, so they're wondering what kind of
Yeah.
skills are required for this and healthcare and that combination with healthcare. But tell us a little bit about your team. What have
Yeah.
been your keys to building a team and kind of retaining and growing the talent and finding the talent? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's hard. Finding the talent and finding the team is absolutely hard. There's a lot of dating, and that's what a lot of people say. You got to get out there and date. Every single person on our team has had an experience where individuals were either navigating care or transitioning through care. So they did have that insight, which is very helpful. And then again, in their respective roles, in their corporate life, they did have some administrative roles and have been able to understand from the business standpoint and from the technical standpoint. That's why I love our team so much, is because we're interpreters essentially, because we can interpret the clinical side to the tech side. We can interpret the business side of it as well. And so that's been very helpful as we're making these decisions on like where we start, where the beachhead is at, what customers we take on, how we're going to grow with policy changing so quickly. How can we implement and push it through so that we come out with a really good product. So with all that being said, fire, 100%, great. You have to know that. Different APIs that you can get is very, very helpful, and being able to integrate with different systems, the understanding the security and compliance part of it and building that way from the beginning so that we're not making a lot of mistakes and having to go back and like something was just a pure waste of time. The way we bring on our team members and the interview process, even to making sure that they can kind of jump in and do things, and that they're with us for the long haul. So, in all those ways is how we've thought about it. And just kind of like we're taking care of our patients and we're taking care of the clinicians and making sure that things are intuitive and easy and not hard. Bringing individuals on that have the heart and the passion for this has been also an advantage.
So you talked about having the heart and the passion for this, right? How do you find that in the interview process?
Oh, it's yeah, absolutely. So talking through, have you ever had a loved one, that had an issue with care and, they couldn't navigate by themselves? Like, have you ever had that before? What do you think about navigation, care coordination? Is that something that you think about or have had anything, come up in your life where it comes to that? And then finally, as far as again, health IT and policy go, are you up to date on what could be possible within healthcare from an IT standpoint? What's your thoughts about, where we can take this? And that usually opens up a lot of discussion and we keep going from there.
So actually, you're 5. Well, one, you've got a great foundation, 20 plus years in the industry, and then
Yeah.
now 5 years plus running the business. So, what have been your keys to success as you look back that you'd want to share with maybe some entrepreneurs that are a little bit newer in their journey?
Yeah, some key successes. I've been just so blessed. I mean, I never thought that I would be able to build a product. And we not only build it, we commercialize it. We got people paying for it. And it's really at the front of like what I've been trying to do for the last few years is something that, for the most part, some of the parts of it will be mandatory. So we've already kind of figured out all how to organize it and we got the customer feedback on it. We put it into play and everything like that. So that is super exciting to know that based off my hardships as a care coordinator and the gaps that I found, that it actually is a solution for major institutions that you would love to be a part of, or I would love to have a dream job, let alone have a product there, where someone can say, hey, this really helped me, this changed my trajectory, or it changed the direction I was going, or I had enough knowledge to do things that I wouldn't do before, and I do it way quicker, and I'm not burnt out, and I'm very thankful that someone was, worked on this. So that's a success for me. It's satisfying my customers. I love my customers so much. I love them so much, and all I try to do is just try to help them as best I can. And I just believe that, as we continue to grow and build, we'll just be doing more of that.
Yeah. You can definitely sense your passion for your customer base here. So as we wrap up here, our time goes very quickly. What are the best ways for folks to learn more and or to connect with you and Reassist?
Yes. So you guys can reach out to me. Just go to the website, www.reassist, and it's RE-ASSISTME.com. A Barrow, or I'm sorry, www.reassistme.com. You can email me at abarrow@reassistme.com. So I'm available either way.
Okay. Great. Thanks for sharing that. For our viewers, that information's all in the show notes here. So I encourage you to reach out, go check out, and learn more. So Ashley Barrow, so we wrap up today. Obviously, your passion for what you're doing is inspiring. Curious, what are you inspired by today?
Absolutely. I'm inspired by the business owners. The primary care doctors are pretty inspiring, to be honest with you right now. They are so awesome because not only do they care for individuals, they help them, fight disease process, navigate the healthcare system. They're a friend a lot of the times, a confidant, but then they have to run their own businesses a lot of the times. Like when I'm working with private practices, they're having to navigate how to bill, navigate the insurance companies, try to understand, even logistically, like, what's best for their patients. So I'm really inspired by them. I love helping them. It's just amazing to see all what they do. So that's what's
Okay.
inspiring me right now.
I love that. Well, but one of your primary customers are your inspiration. So that helps motivate
Absolutely.
you every day. So I love that.
Yes.
So good. Well, Ashley Barrow, Reassist, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast and sharing your story.
All right. Thank you for having me.
And to our viewers, we're thrilled to have you join us today. And we encourage you to hit the like button. That helps us to share the message and cascade it more. And as I mentioned before, if you haven't already, connect with us via the subscribe button and receive future messages like the inspiring story you heard from Ashley today. And with that, we thank you. I hope you all have a terrific day.